What is up guys, Wolfgang here. So today I want to talk about the 8bitdo. This is the USB adapter 2. So I've been playing with this thing for a while now, and well, I have some thoughts I want to share about this device. So let's get into it. Now real quick, 8bitdo did not pay for this review. They did not provide me with this device. I paid for it with my own money, and well, my thoughts are my own. No one is reviewing them before I upload this video. Now then, quickly heading into design, you can see that it has somewhat of a Nintendo brick aesthetic, and it's pretty nice. I ordered the black version, however there also is a brown version, which some people might prefer. I personally prefer black because, well, most of my stuff is just black and gray and so on and so forth, so it kind of matches more with my aesthetic, which is why I picked this one. Now, what I don't like about the adapter is that it's fairly big in the sense that it's just realistically a Bluetooth adapter with maybe a separate chip to do some macro assigning, perhaps. I'm not too big of a fan of the size of it, and I'm also a bit annoyed on the port itself. I don't see why it's a USB-A. I would have preferred it to be USB Type-C with maybe a adapter as well. Me personally, I use my front USB Type-C port to alternate whatever device I want to connect to my computer. Most specifically something like peripherals, not exactly for data transfer, as we saw in the last video up here for that one. Now then, as far as latency goes, believe it or not, it's actually really good. Now, I tested it on the Nintendo Switch and on my PC. I played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I played Crash Team Racing, I played Multiverses, and I played Modern Warfare 2 on my PC. And do not judge me in Modern Warfare 2. I do not play on a controller. I usually play with mouse and keyboard. I used to be an Xbox player for Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, and Modern Warfare 1 and 2. However, I ended up switching to keyboard and mouse just because I didn't really have a good controller. The one I had at the time just broke on me. So I switched to mouse and keyboard, and I preferred it. So since then, I've been using a mouse and keyboard. Now, I did try the game with controller just to have a much more wide opinion on the latency. This thing connects via Bluetooth to any controller you have. On the website, they show several controllers that seem to mean that you can connect any of these controllers to the 8bitdo. They don't really specify it as clearly, at least not on their front page. And well, from my experience, I've only really connected the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. But while they show you can connect the Switch controller to it, you can connect the PlayStation controllers, you can control Xbox older controllers, and etc, etc. There's a lot of controllers in there I don't even recognize. For that, it's really good. Theoretically, with this, you would be able to connect your Switch controller to your computer wirelessly. Now, I didn't test that, but it is an option. Now then, using Bluetooth is not a negative, as it adds a lot of flexibility for which controllers to connect to it, as most controllers now have a Bluetooth option to connect. And as far as latency goes, you really don't notice it. Now, there was a little bit of stuttering when trying to drift in Mario Kart. However, that wasn't split screen. When I played in single player, there was no lag at all. So I believe it might have had something to do with split screen, plus the antenna or the non-falling thing, whatever it's called. I'm not too great at Mario Kart, so I just play for fun with that thing. So all of that together might have led to having some sort of lag or delay on the drift button. But in the end, well, that was the only issue I had in co-op, in split screen. Once playing alone, it was running super fluidly and I could drift whenever I wanted to. And this same issue did not present itself in Crash Team Racing, which is a much more fast-paced racing game, I'd say, than Mario Kart. Now in Super Smash Bros. And Multiverses, this thing is amazing. It's honestly really good. I really didn't notice any delay between the connecting it direct through Bluetooth to my PC or connecting it with this thing. There may be a few milliseconds of delay, like additional, as well you are adding one more step, which would be the conversion from the Bluetooth signal into a USB into the motherboard. That step in the middle does add some latency for sure. I can't test how much that is, but that does mean there might be at least a little bit more delay than connecting it to Bluetooth directly from your controller. But in the case you may have a PC that does not have Bluetooth, or you want to connect it to your controller to the Switch, this is your only option, and it is really good. There's nothing to worry about that. Now then, of course, if you're playing competitively with a controller, most specifically an Xbox or PlayStation controller, you would be connecting it directly wired to your PC for the least amount of latency. And if you're playing more casually, well, both of these options are fine. Connecting it with Bluetooth from the controller or connecting it with this thing, honestly, they're both pretty fine. 8bitdo does also offer some software to program macros into the controller. I have not tested this software out, although I would like to map the paddles on the back of the controller to do something specific, maybe in Smash Bros, as they have several different kinds of moves that I did not realize. I would prefer not to download the software just to make sure I don't get banned in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. As well, this is going to be the Call of Duty for 2 years, so it's even more significant to not get banned in this one, in my opinion. So I won't be testing that out, but I'll be showing you some screenshots of what they show you can do in the macro programming software, which of course you install into your PC. And, well, it's definitely an option if you're interested. Price is a really nice factor of this device. So it only costs $20. It's pretty cheap, actually. I'd say it is, comparing it to other Bluetooth USB receivers, I think it's a nice touch that it is at least pretty much certified, let's say, that it'll work with controllers. Maybe you prefer the aesthetic or just the brand recognition, as they have been making some pretty good adapters for controllers for a bit now. So yeah, it is up to you if it sounds like a good deal. I'd say it's a pretty decent deal if you want to use your controller with a Switch, which is, I believe this might be the only option. A few annoyances I do have with this device is that some of the early units of the first version, so this is the second version, but some of the early units of the first version were breaking switches. They were creating a short, an electrical short, and that would end up damaging your Switch. So that was a negative. However, this is the USB adapter 2. This one does not have the issue. It has been fixed from what I understand. And well, I did connect it to a Switch twice, and I did connect it to a PC twice, and nothing happened. So I believe it is safe to assume that, well, it is not going to fry your motherboard. Another small annoyance I have with this device is that pairing does take a few tries. They do have a fairly strict sequence of events of how you have to do it. It involves this button right here and a light, which you cannot see right now, but it's up here. And yeah, it takes a few tries. It's not too stressing. You just got to know that you might have to unplug this device from your Switch a few times and then retry. And another annoyance I have is with the cap itself. There really isn't a way to store it with the adapter, so it is highly likely that you'll lose it. Now, I personally will only be using this device when my friend brings over his Switch, or I go to play with him at his place, or when I get a Switch. So until then, this thing's going to be mostly using the cap, and I do store this inside the case of my controller, which means it's going to be harder to lose, and that's great. But some people will for sure lose this cap, and that's a bit unfortunate. Now, I guess a positive of having USB Type-A is that it will resist a lot more dings and bends than USB Type-C, but I would still prefer USB Type-C. And lastly, probably my biggest annoyance, even though it is really minor, is that there is a connection-disconnection sound. So you can plug this in, it'll make, the connection sound that Windows usually makes. And then whenever you connect a controller to it, whenever you turn on or turn off your controller, you will hear that Windows sound when it connects, something like a USB drive or so on and so forth, or you disconnect it. We all know that sound. It is not really a big deal because you don't really turn this on and off so often. And even when you do, it isn't a big deal. It's not a loud sound, it isn't a long-lasting sound. But it is basically my only annoyance with this device, so I thought I'd bring it up. So, in conclusion, if you have a Switch and you really want to use your controller with your Switch, most specifically something like an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, this is a really great option. You really don't notice any delay. It looks pretty decent, and well, it works fine. It works really well as far as latency is concerned. Or, for example, if your PC does not have Bluetooth, which I find a bit hard to believe, but well, it's a possibility, this is a solid option. I do believe it still would be better to buy a wireless card or maybe a USB Wi-Fi adapter or wireless adapter, as that would provide you as well with wireless connection and Bluetooth. And it would be easier to pair with your computer, as you do get to, go into Windows settings and select which device to pair with. But it's up to you. This is an option. That's what I want to say. If you're interested, their links are down in the description. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on next videos. And hit the bell icon so you get notified. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a great day.